I'm Vicky and I'm a vocal coach based in Camborne, Cambridgeshire. My company is called Free Your Voice Hub and I do one-to-one coaching for singing and public speaking, and I also run various workshops, different singing workshops for children and for adults and for confidence building, and I also do public speaking for women workshops. So today I want to tell you a little bit about how to deal with your voice when you get nerves. So when you get that shaky voice and you need to get your confidence back. So if I ask my clients what's one of the biggest things that has helped them with their voice, they will say breathing. So if you can get the breathing technique correct, then you can learn to control your voice and deal with those nerves, deal with that shake. I'm a professional singer and I still get on stage and I'm shaking and my hands are shaking like this. It is adrenaline and it happens to me every single time, and it's something that I personally have to deal with. So the first thing, I guess, is reframing what it is. Everybody can get this and we don't have to blame ourselves for what it is. We can say, okay, this is adrenaline. Yeah, my body is reacting to me getting on stage or speaking in front of people or singing in front of people, and that is normal. Now, how do I deal with this? How do I get control back over my voice? And that is from breathing. So I'm going to teach you today how to inhale for singing and how to exhale for singing. So what I want you to do is, I'm going to stand up here and put one hand on the lowest rib, one hand thumb goes in the belly button and the rest of the hand goes below. Now what I want you to do is inhale through your mouth, and what we want to happen is the belly expands and the ribs expand. Just like this. So this is in and this is out. And that is essential for our speaking and our singing. And once we get that, we're going to have a lot more control over the voice. Now, what I see a lot is this, breathing up here, and what happens is everything tightens up in here. And I'm going to show you what happens there. So I'm just going to load a chart. So here you see these muscles here. These are called the constrictor muscles, and their job is to protect the vocal cords. This is the larynx here. The vocal cords sit in the larynx. These muscles are designed to protect us. So if they sense that something is wrong, boom, they tighten up to protect the vocal cords. So they think they're doing a good job. But what we don't want is to set them off when we're singing or speaking, because then you get that tight feeling and it can be very embarrassing and you think, oh, it's all my fault and I'm never doing that again. Once we realize it's not our fault, it can be very empowering, and we realize that we can also release these muscles by learning the correct breath technique. So let's try that again with the inhalation. And don't worry if you can't get it. You need to lie down on the floor, on a yoga mat, on your back, put your hands on your tummy and try it that way, and that's going to be much simpler. And then once you get it on the floor, you can take it to standing. So when you inhale, your shoulders should be still and your ribs should go out to the side so you can feel your ribs go out. And the tummy goes out and the lower half goes out. And when you exhale, the tummy comes in. Right, now the next step is to have more control over the voice. We want to extend our exhalation and learn to control our exhalation. And the more controlled we can get that, we can get rid of that shake and control our nervous voice. So what I want you to do is, once you've got the correct inhalation, then we're going to work on the exhalation. So you breathe into here, and then on the exhalation, I want you to find, you can tap down on the ribs here, on the hard bit here, into the squishy bit in the middle of the ribs. That's called the solar plexus. What I want you to do is pretend you've got a string attached to that. You breathe in low here, and then you keep the string on the solar plexus, and you breathe out with letting the air out slowly through the teeth. You basically want to keep that going for as long as you possibly can and smooth out the sound. Now, you need to be doing these exercises with the correct breath technique over and over again in order to smooth that sound. And when you smooth that sound, you're smoothing your voice and you're able to deal with the shake. When people first start doing this exercise, you can hear all the shakes and the noises. And then as they build it up, it'll get smoother and smoother, and they're able to hold it on for longer and longer. And this is voice control. And this is my main point for today for confidence building. Yeah, for me personally, for nerves, is going out and doing it regularly, going out and performing regularly. I compare it to doing a skydive. So I've done 35 skydives. And when I was younger, I started doing a skydive course. And then I left a big period of time in between jumping out of the plane, and I can tell you I was absolutely terrified because I'd left that big space. So repeat performance is huge for me personally. Everybody will find their thing for what helps them the most. Now I want to talk about voice projection. So voice projection comes from also the breathing technique, holding the diaphragm down. So when I breathe in, my lungs fill up with air, and underneath sits the diaphragm, and the diaphragm pushes down, and it pushes the other organs out the way, and that's why we get that bulge in the tummy. Yeah, so that's why when you inhale, you need to check for that bulge in the tummy, because the diaphragm is pushing those other organs out of the way. Now, the power of the singer, the power of the speaker comes from holding that diaphragm down. The job of the diaphragm is to make you breathe. So it's going, yeah, I'm going to come up to make you breathe, which is great. But we want to hold it down. And how we do that is we keep the ribs out. So the diaphragm's attached to the lowest ribs. So if we keep the ribs out, the diaphragm stays down. Now, you don't have to think about it too much. All you need to know is that you need to keep the ribs out. So that's why when we're doing this exercise, I make you pull on the string, because this basically keeps the ribs out. So when you inhale, ribs go out. Now I want to keep them out. If I collapse, I've already lost loads of my power. I've lost loads of air. So breathe in again. Everybody can try this. Breathe in, feel the ribs go out, and then pull it out with the string and make that. That's helping you to hold the diaphragm down. Now we're going to add in a sound. So how do we make a loud sound? Well, we have to make something called twang. I'm not going to go into all the details of that, but basically you need to make a sound a bit like a witch. So can everybody make a sound like a witch? Like a ah ha ha. See, that takes the air off my voice. So if I speak like this, it's too quiet. But if I speak like this with lots of twang, I can get volume and I can project my voice. So basically, I've got two things I need to do to project my voice. I need to hold the diaphragm down, and I need to twang at the same time. And I need a position with my mouth. So the position is, if everybody pretends they've got an apple in the hand, I want you to put the front teeth in, like this. And then you're going to look like the Joker from Batman. Crazy smile, looking insane. Yes. Okay. Then what I want you to do is check you've got the inhalation. So you breathe in, keep the crazy Joker smile, and on the exhalation, keep the twang, and go, hey! You want to try? Hey! And that is the very basics of projection and voice control. Okay, so there's one more exercise that I love to give my students, because when we get nervous, our body does different things, right? Some of us need to go for a pee, some of us sweat, our heart's racing. So what I like to do is, for a practice, get my students to run on the spot. So this could be fun in your group as well. So you could all run on the spot for 1 minute basically, and you'll suddenly find that a minute is quite a long time when you're sprinting on the spot. When you just sprint on the spot, like and then everybody could have something to read out, and you read it out to your group. And basically it's like, you know, speaking with nerves, because your heart is racing and you're sweating, and then it gives you confidence because you think, well, if I can do it after I ran on the spot for 60 seconds, then I can do it when I'm on stage. And it's fun, and my students love that exercise because it warms them up for getting on stage.